Kia ora and hello. Today I'm going to be talking about plant-based protein. And I know in some of my other nutrition videos I've talked a lot about food diaries and reducing things like sugar and increasing green intake and balancing out protein and often via meat. But today I'm going to offer you a different side of the story, and that is suggesting the idea that we can have great levels of protein through plant-based protein, which will be pretty interesting. So why am I even discussing this? The reason is there is some amazing benefits that plant-based protein can offer you that sometimes animal protein or whey protein or eggs or may not offer you. And the following are some of these. So number one is that plant-based protein is actually really good for your gut health, so increasing all that good gut bacteria. Often the opposite is associated with meat, that it is not ideal for your gut health in the bacteria in there, that it can create more bad gut bacteria. So that's a real positive. But number two is with plant-based protein, you're generally going to be reducing inflammation in the body. Whereas with animal protein, it's often increasing inflammation in the body. And that's a big deal because inflammation leads to simple things like aches and pains, but can lead to much more serious things in the long term like disease and chronic illness. Now, the next thing is that with your plant-based protein, you can also, through things like your nuts, you're accessing beautiful, healthy fats that are going to be great for your skin, great for your body, great for a whole host of things. Whereas saturated fats and animal protein can have not as many positive benefits. There's a bit of a debate around that. Now, I'd also say, and one of my favorites, pea protein like pea protein powder even versus whey protein powder, has great levels of iron. And so that means that we don't have to get our iron from meat necessarily, that we can get it through those plant-based proteins, and especially if you're increasing your green base with your spinach and vitamin C and things like that, you're going to be absorbing that iron really nicely. Athletic performance. Who would guess? Lots of big rugby players or football players you associate with having big meat meals to be big and muscly and strong. However, there is a whole movement of people that are in exactly those sports that are choosing to have more plant-based diet and plant-based protein and still to be as athletic. In fact, if you want to know more, there's a great documentary I recently watched on Netflix called Game Changers. The producers include Arnold Schwarzenegger and Novak Djokovic. So they've got some really cool athletic background and some people backing it that you'll find really interesting. And a really cool thing, and this doesn't need much selling, is that with a plant-based protein or plant-based diet, big plant-based diet, is associated with looking younger and living longer. And that can be for a huge amount of reasons, but the ones I'll mention today is that, because of that reduction in inflammation, that's going to be easier on your body. Plant-based proteins are more easy to digest than animal proteins, which is again going to be easier on your body, and loaded with antioxidants. And we all know about antioxidants and free radicals. Antioxidants make definitely a big youth aid in your body and helping you be healthy and improve your immune system. So pretty awesome. I'm going to give you a whole list of amazing plant-based proteins shortly, and so you can start to think like, how can I include some of those in my diet? But you may be thinking, am I saying become vegan or become vegetarian? Certainly not. That is totally up to you. But what I am saying is that there is an opportunity to still hit great levels of protein, but through plants rather than traditionally it's so easy. We just get you 20 grams from a breast of chicken. But so what I'm suggesting is that whatever the amount of how many meals you have that are meat-based, try and reduce that. Maybe it might be reducing 1 or 2 a week. Or if you're like me and my husband, we were having a huge amount of meat, probably most days. In fact, sometimes twice a day, lunch and dinner. So we made it a challenge to be creative and have prioritize having some plant-based protein meals rather than meat in those meals. So again, we generally have salad and greens with all our meals, but a lot of time there's a lot of meat as well. So we've done that for quite a while now, and the results are really amazing, including less inflammation, and that's meaning like less aches and pains. For me, a better quality sleep, energy levels, and a real even keel in mood, which is really important. And I guess that that balance in gut bacteria has really helped with that. It also is a little bit cheaper, but it also the range of food that we're trying is so diverse, because you have to be a little bit more creative when you're having these plant-based meals. So when you think about how many different extra nutrients we're getting, it's huge compared to just sticking with what we knew before. So that's my encouragement. And I guess what I did is I reflected and went like, am I getting a lot of protein if I didn't have the meat? And so I just looked at one meal, and that was my breakfast. So our breakfast is pretty full on and includes all sorts of seeds, including sunflower and pumpkin. It has chia seeds, has oats, and I'm not suggesting you have to have oats because grains aren't good for everybody, and almond flour and pea protein powder. And when I calculated it all, I was getting about 30 grams of protein, and your body probably only needs maybe 20 per meal. So I'm hitting huge amounts of protein that's easy to digest and gives me great energy, and that's it's just my breakfast. So to get the right levels just in lunch and dinner wasn't actually going to be that much harder. So you may find that once you start calculating, you're actually getting some really good levels. And this list that I'm about to read to you might encourage you to go, hey, I can include some of those things and look for. We probably aim to have maybe 4 or 5 more plant-based meals than protein meals than we used to. And definitely in our lunches. Our lunches are definitely really have meat in them now. So, because it's a big list, I've written it down, and there should be a cool PDF that I'll attach with it as well. Now, the list includes chia seeds. So chia seeds have become really popular because they've got lots of other great properties, but they're great to include in your smoothie. You can chuck them in your breakfast. You can even chuck them into stir fries or any of your main meals, and they enhance the flavour. Tofu, which you probably have heard of, and tempeh, which is fermented tofu, which has some great properties, and edamame beans, which are the immature tofu, all have great levels of protein. Your lentils, awesome, and they're so good to add to curries and crock pots and lots of other meals. Your chickpeas, this is a go-to for us, mainly because they're quite cheap, but you can roast them, toast them, and put them in salads, and they can add a real kick. And so I really enjoy those. Peanuts, huge levels of protein. Your almonds, in fact, all your nuts have got great levels of protein. Spirulina, so if you're having it as a powder or a tablet or a seaweed, you're not only getting your awesome protein, you're getting the selenium and other great things associated with it as well. Quinoa, an ancient grain, so not often under the category of a grain, is actually a complete protein, so it's got some amazing properties for your body. So I'd include that maybe once or twice a week. Now, as I read through this list, because things like the potato is going to come up, because in a medium-sized potato, you're going to get about 8 grams of protein, which is pretty amazing. And people might be thinking, hey, but you say don't have too many carbs. And that's right, I don't think we need huge amounts of carbs. But I might be I'm not injecting potatoes every day. I might have maybe 1 or 2 of this list snuck in here and there, so my carb levels are still pretty low. Now, other things we have a hemp seed, and we go to your greens. Your greens have, I know you have to have a lot, but the amount that you're having, if you're having big salads, you're probably getting some good levels. Kale, your broccoli, mushrooms, surprisingly 5 mushrooms have like 3 grams of protein. So easy. Your oats have protein. One of my obvious favorites is lean protein, pea protein powder versus whey protein. It's got huge amounts of easy to digest protein in it. Your sunflower seeds, your pumpkin seeds, have all got amazing levels of protein. So there's a lot of things you may already be eating and not added into your equation of protein. So now your challenge is to think of set your goal of I don't know, maybe it's 1 or 2 meals a week you want to try being plant-based. If you're actually already doing a lot of meals, then maybe it's just going, okay, what is in my meal, and checking out how much protein is in there. I talked in some of my other videos that maybe about 1 gram of protein per kilo of body weight. So say you're 75 kilos, you might be looking for around 75 grams of protein, and that can now come from all sorts of areas, not just your typical meats, eggs, and whey. It can come from all these new plant-based protein options. So I hope that's given you a little bit of insight and giving you a little bit of stimulation to try something new, and good luck with it.